The shark sees you. The shark will come and get you, and he's bringing his deadly friends, rockets and guns. Woo, rockets and guns.
Tower American 95, 10 miles out on the ILS. American 95, Kennedy Tower, falling Airbus 319 ahead, 105.
Hello, everybody. I'm DerTebbers. Welcome aboard. Welcome to Da Nang International Airport in Vietnam. Aboard our Rockwell North American OV-10 Bronco. I know it's just Bronco, but I just felt like trilling the R's. Leave me alone, all right? This is going to be a relatively long spotlight because there's a lot of information about this aircraft. It's a fun little plane. Ooh, look, we have stabs. Look at that. Warp, 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 warp. Oh, our dude's turn. I didn't even know. Look at our guys. They're like, oh, I'm going to look left. I'm going to look right. Oh. Okay. Are we ready? I like that there's this wire that runs back there. I mean, it's like, oh, wow. That's not going to cause a problem. All right. Do we have flaps? We do have flaps. Put a little bit of flap on our Bronco. Let's get inside our Bronco. It's a nice internal cockpit here. Cool. Let's run up our, I don't know what we got. Let's see. We have a B Bronco, I believe, if I remember correctly. No, we don't. We have a D. Are we flying a D? Yeah, we're flying a D. All right. So we've got two Garrett T76-G-420 stroke 421 turboprops, 1,040 horsepower each. You ready? You ready? Of course you're ready. Let's go. Sounds like a pretty standard turboprop to me. Oh, we're loaded. Never mind. I was like, oh, we can take off now. No, we're loaded. We should be able to take off about now. No. There we go. Woo, into the air we go in the Bronco. All right, look at those wheels. That one's rotating back up into the fairing there. Good Lord, we're just going to fly really low, I guess. That's a happy-looking shark, ain't he? Of course he's a happy-looking shark. He's like, yee! Yeah, that's what all sharks do. They sound like horses. It's a true story. True story. Sharks sound like horses. All right, let's talk about our aircraft. All right, the North American Rockwell OV-10 Bronco turboprop light attack observation aircraft was developed in the 1960s as a special aircraft for counterinsurgency combat. And one of its primary missions was as a forward air controller. So counterinsurgency combat, that's a coin aircraft. Forward air controller is a FAC or FAK or FAC, a FAC aircraft. Carry up to 3 tons of external munitions, internal loads such as paratroopers or stretchers, and can loiter for 3 or more hours unless there's a no loitering sign, in which case it can't loiter. The aircraft was initially conceived in early 1960s through an informal collaboration between 2 generals, Beckett and Rice. The original concept was for a rugged, simple, close air support aircraft integrated with forward ground operations. At the time, the United States Army was still experimenting with armed helicopters, and the United States Air Force was not interested in close air support. They wanted all the fun of going up in the air and shooting down other planes. The concept aircraft was to operate from expedient forward air bases using roads as runways. Speed was to be from very slow to medium subsonic, with a much longer loiter time than a pure jet. Efficient turboprop engines would give better performance than piston engines, so that's why we've got a turboprop. Weapons were to be mounted on the center line to get the efficient, unranged aiming like the Lockheed P-38 Lightning and the North American F-86 Sabre. The inventors favored strafing weapons, were self-loading recoilless rifles which could deliver aimed explosive shells with less recoil than cannons, and a lower per round weight than rockets. The airframe was to be designed to avoid the blastback. Now, Beckett and Rice developed a basic platform meeting these requirements, then attempted to build a fiberglass prototype in their garage. The effort produced enthusiastic supporters and informed pamphlet describing the concept. Now, Rice states, the military definition of STOL, 500 feet to a 50-foot obstacle, allows takeoff and landing in most areas in which limited war might be fought. In addition, the aircraft was designed to use roads, so that operations could even be possible in jungles where clearings were few and far between. As a result, the wingspan was to be limited to 20 feet, and a heavy trailing arm type landing gear with a tread of 6.5 feet was provided for operating from roads. Float operation was to be feasible. It was quite feasible to design the various components so that it'd be disassembled easily and stored in a box that would fit on a 6x6 truck bed together with equipment needed for reassembly in the field. It could thus be transported by amphibious shipping and either heli-lifted or driven ashore by a 6x6. Now think about that. Does this aircraft meet those specs? No. No, it doesn't. So, after the interest in this kind of aircraft started to grow, a tri-service specification for Light Armed Reconnaissance Aircraft, or LARA, was approved by the United States Navy, Air Force, and Army. The LARA requirement was based on a perceived need for a new type of jungle fighting, versatile, light attack, and observation aircraft. Existing aircraft in that role, the Cessna 01 Bird Dog and the Cessna 02 Skymaster, were perceived as obsolete, too slow, and too small for a load capacity that was required. The Bronco started flying midway through the test program and began one of the premier counterinsurgency aircraft. It did not, however, achieve the required concepts for the LARA. And the reason being, the DoD insisted on a 40-foot long wings, which made it dependent on air bases. Rice stated about that, the original concept of a small, simple aircraft that could operate close to the supported troops had been almost completely eviscerated by the system. The ability to operate from roads, 20-foot span, and 6.5 tread had been ignored, and performance compromised by the short 30-foot span. The extra 1,000 pounds for the rough field gear and other 1,000 pounds of electronics. The light and simple aircraft also had a full complement of instruments, ejection seats, 7 external storage stations. The concept of using external ordnance in a bomb bay had been ignored, although it did have provisions for 4 M60s. In spite of the growth, almost double the size and weight of the home built, the aircraft had great potential. It would not achieve the advantage of integrating with the ground scheme of maneuvers, but it did have the capabilities at the low end of the performance envelope that are still valuable and unique. So the Bronco isn't the Bronco that was originally designed. The Bronco that was originally designed was much smaller, much lighter, and much more of a, a disruptor than anything. It wasn't really the gunship that it has become. It's basically a baby A-10 is what it looks like. It's like, oh, I'm a baby A-10. I'll kill you. Yeah. Now, the Bronco performed observation, forward air control, helicopter escort, armed reconnaissance, utility light air transport, and limited ground attack. It's also performed aerial radiological reconnaissance, tactical air observation, artillery and naval gunfire spotting, airborne control, tactical air support operations, frontline low-level aerial photography. Basically, if it's rough and rugged, this plane has tried it. This aircraft supports effective operations from forward bases, but it does have to be a full base, unlike what Rice originally intended, which was to operate from a road. It can perform short field takeoff and landing, including on aircraft carriers and large deck amphibious assault ships without using catapults or arrestor wires. How about that? I don't need no stinking catapult. I'm a Bronco. Yeah. Whoops. Turn the other way, ding dong. There you go. Further, it was designed to land on those unimproved unimproved sites. So you clear the area, the plane can land on it because it's got that long landing gear. Repairs can be made with ordinary tools. No ground equipment is required to start the engines. And, if necessary, the engines will operate on high-octane auto fuel with only a slight loss of power. This is really important. Now, operationally, it's got some problems. Now, the original Bronco was significantly underpowered, like 950 horsepower per engine. Underpowered. Yeah. This contributed to crashes in Vietnam because of the sloping terrain. The plane just could not climb fast enough to get out of the way. Now, while specifications state the aircraft could reach 26,000 feet, in Vietnam, the aircraft really could only reach 18,000. The aircraft was acquired by the Air Force primarily as a forward air control aircraft. First aircraft arrived here in Vietnam as part of Operation Combat Bronco. It was an operational test of the aircraft. It included a full range of missions then assigned to those forward air control aircraft, including day and night strikes, direction, gunship direction, bomb damage assessment, visual reconnaissance, artillery direction, escorts, all the good things. Now, the aircraft ability to generate smoke was utilized for strike direction, and in 4 specific instances, under a condition of reduced visibility, the smoke was seen by strike crews before the aircraft itself was detected. Smoke, huh? Funny enough, I've got a smoke gen. Clicky. Look at that. We got smoke. Woo! We got smoke. Yay! Look at that. I love that they included the smoke generator on this plane. Isn't that nice? Now, this aircraft is not just a military aircraft anymore. Let's turn off the smoke generator. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection has acquired a number of OV-10As to replace the existing Cessna O2 Skymasters as an air attack aircraft. The Cal Fire Broncos, the crew of 2, their job is to coordinate all aerial assets on a fire with the incident commander on the ground. Now, if you've ever watched a video, sometimes you'll see these smaller aircraft orbiting around the fire, or with the smoke gen, they can lay a line of smoke for the big tankers to come in. There's a video of one of the, they're using a, I think they're using a King Air in one video, but there's a video of them attacking a fire in the Lake Chelan area in Washington State, where you see I believe it's a King Air come whipping in at just, it sounds like it's just maxed out, drops a little smoke, and then a few seconds later comes a DC-10 to drop an absolute metric ton of fire retardant. That's what they're used for. Now, Boeing has recently put together plans internally to build a modernized, improved version of the Bronco because, while this is a North American Rockwell, well, guess who owns it now? Yep, Boeing. They own just about everything nowadays, I guess. Now, they want to maintain this rugged aircraft, but they want 21st century modernizations like a computerized glass cockpit, intelligence centers, smart bomb dropping capabilities, etc., etc., etc. But they're in competition against the Texan II, the A-67 Dragon, and the EMB 314 Super Tucano. All right, we've got ourselves a D model Bronco. At least I believe it's a D model. I'm going to try to get this plane around so we can land. All right, so our crew is 2. Our maximum speed is a relatively leisurely 288 miles per hour. That's 463 kilometers an hour. Our range is 1,382 miles. That's 2,224 kilometers, but we have a long loiter time. If you get there, you just kind of loiter and chill out. Guns. 1 20 millimeter cannon or 4 7.62 by 51 millimeter M60 machine guns. Hardpoints. 5 fuselage and 2 underwing. Provisions to carry combinations of rockets, like your standard tube launch rockets, folding fin aerial rockets, or WAFRs, any of the various sizes. They can carry missiles. On the wings, you can carry sidewinders. This plane can shoot down another plane if necessary. And bombs, up to 500 pounds. That's 227 kilograms of bombs. Things that make things go boom. It is a interesting looking aircraft. It's actually a pretty fun aircraft to fly. With that big twin rudder back there, you can really slew the aircraft heavily in flight, which is interesting. It gives an interesting feel. The interior, just gorgeous. Look at it. Look at all the little buttons and knobs and things you can do. Very nice. There's even pig water feeder. You can pig feeder. It's water or kibble. We're on kibble, I believe. Yes, we are on kibble. I honestly have no idea what that is. I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's funny. That's pig. All right. Let's hit our numbers. That was 1. There's 2. So we got a little checklist here. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like having a checklist. A little closer look at everything. Oh, that was 1. Okay, so that's 1. It just took a second to come up. 2 is right there. That's our throttle quadrant. 3. There's our comm quadrant. We got ourselves GPS. Hit 5. Nothing came up. 6. Aha! Here we have our electrical panel. Very good. Oh, that wasn't 5. 7. Okay, so what was 5? Electrical panel or other controls? Oh, so it's, the electrical panel's been integrated with the other controls, so it all becomes 1. So that's cool. That's cool. All right, let's try to open the plane, see what opens up. Oh, there we go. We got the sides open up just nicely. Yeah. Very nice. A very nice looking aircraft. Very nice looking cockpit. Very fun to fly. Not the most forgiving thing in the world, I will tell you that. It is not the most forgiving thing in the world. But it's pretty darn fun to fly. You can get yourself out of a lot of problems with the ability to slew the aircraft. Just note, it does take a moment for those turboprops to come up to speed, so yeah, you might crash. I might have done that when I was making sure the plane had an internal cockpit. All right, so the link to our Bronco is in the description as always. I've been DerTebbers. This has been your Flight Simulator X Plane Spotlight, the baby warthog. That's what I'm going to call it. Aw, it's a baby warthog. Aw. Till next time, be careful if you see this thing coming. I'm coming to shoot you with a popcorn gun. Actually, you know what? I'll put cupcakes in there. I'm going to make a cupcake launcher and shoot it at everybody. That's what I'm going to do.
Level 1283, Kennedy Tower. Greetings. Falling heavy, Boeing 767 touching down. Caution wake turbulence from 050 to 12, number 2, 4 right, settle in.
Going in 4 right, 1283, copy all.
8 Lima Bravo, traffic just north of the airport, opposite direction along the track routing. A helicopter and under defeat, yes, you in sight.